What's going on, guys? It's Gunner, RSN Dragon Sans, rapping name Windows 95, and for the first video on my new channel, I wanted to bring you the most efficient, most up-to-date guide on money making. Now, first, a few things. This guide is written for high-level players, and I assume you have 99 all skills and all quests completed. That being said, it does cater to those with lower amounts of capital, and the reason I made this video is because I was sick of seeing high-level players complain that money making was too difficult. So without further delay, let's do this. Now for this first method, which you're all probably pretty well aware of, Torstol farming, I'm going to make the assumption that you can afford at least one run, which is about 650k at current prices. Now if you can't afford this, it's almost always going to be better to borrow 650k than to try to utilize any of the zero capital money making methods, such as, say, picking snape grass, things of that nature. So there's just a few tips and tricks here to help you have quicker, more enjoyable herb runs, such as using Surge when going to the Port Phasmatis herb patch. Now this is extremely profitable. You get on average 59.04 herbs per run with the Supreme Green Fingers aura, and this works out to a total overall profit of about 12.608 mil, and which is about 630k per run, taking about 3 minutes. Now keep in mind these prices can change, and this is with all the bells and whistles. Also, Greater Runic Staff is going to be your friend. While you're doing other skills, you can use it to check on your crops. Now, the second method requires a little bit more capital, and it's killing Ganodermic Beasts, which take 95 Slayer. Now, you're going to need about 10 mil in supplies, which is to get a Master Wand and a Graphilic Orb at least. These lower tiered equipment are going to work fine. You're using Void Elite, so you don't have to spend any money on things like RMs or Subjugation. Now, this short trip equipment in inventory includes an Arcane Stream and a Seer's Ring. I found that the Ring of Wealth only helped a little bit over my time spent there, and I valued the magic experience equal to the money making. So in my short trips, I didn't use a Ring of Wealth, and I didn't use a Ring of Wealth in my long trips either. But the one thing I did change was, instead of bringing renewals, I only brought overloads for my long trips, and I switched out the Arcane Stream for a Demon Horn necklace. So some tips is you want to target runts, and that their splash area is bigger, meaning you can target closer to your optimal 9 targets at once. Now, there's a couple spots where you want to move your cannon when spawns become sparse, and they're shown here. The XP rates are about 635k magic or defense per hour, as well as about a third of that in hits and some other minimal experience. So I spent 63 hours at Ganodermics last week, and some of the major drops you can see listed here, some of the rare drop table drops. And as you can see, it worked out to be extremely profitable. I only got 3 effigies, which I'll take what I can get in that regard, but the profits were about 226 mil, not counting the cost of overloads, because I assume that that's how players will be training herb lore anyways. So even if you factor those in, it only goes down to about 3.482 mil an hour. So using lesser gear than what I used, which was a Virtus Book, Wand, etc., you're going to only make slightly less. I would still say about 3 mil per hour is your floor. Now that's including the cost of cannonballs and potions, and your blood runes, fire runes, etc. So this is a great method of money making, as well as getting an incredible amount of overall XP per hour. Now, I didn't get crashed at all because I used the agility side of the Ganodermic dungeon, but I would make sure to keep an eye out for bots, because there are actually Ganodermic bots, and if this method becomes popular in the future, you may have some competition. That being said, it's a great way to make money currently, and without a high level of investment, there should be a lot of max players that can do this rather effectively. So, the moment you've all been waiting for, one of the most widely discussed, least understood money-making methods in the game, which is investing or flipping. And the capital required for this is about 30 mil to flip effectively, but at higher levels, your profits are going to be even greater. Now, what you're going to want to do in order to maximize your return and minimize your risk is to research the market. Now this is incredibly important because you don't want to invest in something that's going to tank after the next update. You're going to want to look at recent trends, like how prices are shifting, and scope out undervaluation of equipment and skilling supplies. Now this just isn't at the current time, but with regards to future updates. If you utilize friends chats, especially for rares, beware of price manipulation, as players are always going to want to shift the market in their own favor. Now, what I mean by the undervaluation of skilling supplies is that oftentimes there's going to be one item that has dipped for whatever reason to a point where it becomes faster and cheaper to train with that item over other comparable methods. So an example of this is emeralds. Alright, so if emeralds go below the price per GP per XP of green dragonhide, they're likely to go up in the future, because not only are they about the same price some of the time, but they're much faster in terms of XP. So a lot of times you can spot undervaluations like this, and if you move quickly you can make a great deal of money. Now, that being said, there's infinite possibilities for flips every day, from equipment to discontinueds to skilling supplies. So once you choose your item, there's several important steps you have to take. Now, if you are aware of buy limits, that's going to be incredibly important. What that means is that every 4 hours you can only buy a certain amount of every item in the game. Now, some things are better for flips because of this. A good example from back in the day is Furies. Furies have always had a 100 buy limit, whereas comparable equipment in terms of price has always had a 2 to 10 buy limit. So this is going to be incredibly important if you're going to want to make a lot of money over a short period of time with flipping. Now, what you're going to want to do also is this is just as a RuneScape player, and this will help you a lot, is to pay attention to the front page. I can't count on two hands, the times people come in clan chat or they PM me asking about an update. You should be able to keep up with the recent happenings in the game, and this is going to help you not only in terms of using your time effectively, but in terms of money making as well. Now, whether it's Jagex reaching in and shifting the price of next items like they did last month, or it's talking about something that is going to make prices rise or dip. You don't want to invest in mahogany planks if Jagex says a construction rework is coming out and they're hinting at it becoming free. Or a minigame coming out that will allow you to train prayer for free. You're obviously not going to want to invest in Frost Dragon Bones at that time. So this is incredibly important. Too many people lose bank investing in Rocktails before EOC or things of that nature. So after you've done that, after you've determined your item, you need to determine your margins. Alright? So if it's a rare, you probably want to go into Rare Quark or some other FC and determine what the margins are, just to give you a good estimate. But in general, what you're going to want to do, I flip mostly supplies. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a buy offer in for far over mid to find out the insta-buy price, and you're going to want to put a sell offer in far below mid to find out the insta-sell price. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to show you your margins for that item, and this allows you to invest in a way that you'll actually make money, because if you put in the sell offer too high or the buy offer too low, you're just never going to get any supplies. Once you've done this, you just wait for your items to buy and wait for your items to sell. You can do these at the same time, or you can do them, you can stagger them so you're selling, buying, selling, buying. Now, with lower capital, you're going to want to just buy and then sell. You're not going to want to do both at once. You're not going to want to put your eggs in too many baskets, really. As long as you're reasonably sure about your item, which there shouldn't be much question after you've done your research. So what this results in is a profit. If you can evaluate those margins and act on them, then you're going to be able to sell for much more than you buy for. Now, some possible low capital flips, which low capital I mean 30 to 100 mil, are potions such as prayer flasks, farming seeds such as Torstol, which are, by the way, one of the most volatile flips for low capital, which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. Depends on how patient you are. Herbs, bones, and basically any skilling supply, as well as lower level equipment such as God Wars items, not necks, but bandos, armadil, etc. So some high capital flips once you've gotten into the money are discontinued items, high level equipment such as necks, and greater amounts of supplies. Now, once you have this amount of money, you should be familiar with how flipping works, and you should be patient first and foremost, because what this is going to do is you're not going to sell for too little, and you're not going to buy for too much if you can have patience, which sometimes if you have a 10,000 buy offer for something, sometimes it takes 10 hours to fill, which is fine as long as you're getting it for the price that is appropriate in terms of your flip. So, quick warning, as with any speculative buying, just as in real life, you run the risk of holding on to an item too long and losing out on your profit and maybe some of your investment. So, not paying attention to updates and news posts from all over the internet, anything released from Jagex, don't pay attention to rumors so much. It will increase this risk of holding on to items too long. More investment equals more return. This is a basic principle, but it's really, really important to understand that you're not going to make 100 mil a day on 30 mil. It's just not possible. So a quick example of a flip I did last week was I was buying a skilling supply with a 10K buy limit, and my margins were 800 GP per. Now, I was able to flip 226K of this item over the week, which results in a total profit of 180 million. I did this with it was like a 1.2 bill buy offer. So I spent about 50 seconds going to the GE, putting in the buy offer, and then once it filled, putting in the sell offer at the end of the week. And my profit was almost 181 mil, which, I mean, profit per hour here, obviously, it's not that relevant because I can't do this all the time, but it works out to something like 13 bill an hour. So you just want to keep an eye out for undervaluations in items. Some things are hindered by buy limit. If you want to have friends help you, something like adamant plate bodies were 400 GP below elk in the GE last week. So if you had infinite accounts, you could make a killing on those. That being said, you can find one of these flips almost all the time, and you have to keep an eye out. Now, all three of these methods I utilized last week. I wanted to test Ganos, I needed spirit seeds, and I needed to get my magic to mining ratio perfect in terms of superheating to 200 mil of both. And I used all three of these methods: Torstol farming, killing Ganodermic beasts, and flipping. And my total profit last week was about 448, almost 449 mil. I mean, I had a couple other flips going on, but not really paying attention to those. That was my profit. With 30 mil in capital, which is what I used for the Torstol seeds and the Gano minus the book and wand, I was able to make about 270 mil of this. So that just goes to show you that in 1 week, you can make about 270 mil with 30 mil in capital. Now, some of these methods are going to change because prices are going to change, but for now, they're some of the best methods. So I hope that helps you guys make some money. I don't like hearing high levels complain about being poor, how hard it is. Flipping will be around for the foreseeable future, even if Ganos aren't, if they get nerfed. Torstol farming's been around for years. So with that in mind, I hope you guys can use this, and happy scaping.